Financial rules would not permit shifting of expenditure from one head to another head. The advantage of this type of budgeting is that it is relatively easy to prepare, present and understand. Second is lump sum budgeting. A given lump sum of money is allocated to the library as its budget for the next year. It is library's responsibility simply to spend it wisely. Although the actual categories of expenditure may very well be the same as those of line item budget, the lump sum budget is more flexible in what there is no limit on expenditure of any one category. Third is formula budgeting. Resources in formula budgeting are allocated according to some predetermined standards such as number of students attending particular courses, number of faculty members, graduate and undergraduate course of study. The formula budgeting is often used by large libraries system for the allocation of library's book fund to the department to receive its fair share of resources. This type of budgeting covers areas of collection, organization of material, staff, delivery of service, facilities, administration and budget. Formula budget has gained popularity because they are easy to prepare, require little justification, provide some sense of equality and require few planning and budgeting skills to prepare. Fourth is program budgeting. Program budgets are the stage beyond the simple line item. With a program budget, the services and activities are emphasized rather than the direct costs themselves. Items of expenditure are allocated to the specific activities for which they are used. The final product will be seen as an extension of the line item budget. Program budgeting is an addition to the budget process, supplementing the line item budget rather than replacing it. A typical library program budget will be divided into several major programs, and under each program the budget will be further subdivided into categories such as library service, the development and maintenance of the basic collection of publication which provide the backbone of any information unit, information services, the provision of all forms of information services ranging from current awareness survey to online information retrieval services, then data management services, the provision of administration and storage services for corporate hard copy data services, etc. Program budgeting will be seen to have significant advantages over the simple line item version in that it provides linkages between the inputs to the information unit and the outputs from it. Proper implementation of a program budget will permit the preparation of better and more convincing budgets. Then performance budgeting. The performance budget depends on the calculation of costs for each individual activity undertaken by the library. Once these costs have been calculated, then the budget is simply established by multiplying the unit cost by the proposed level activity. The major drawbacks of this budgeting is costing is complicated activity. Management techniques such as cost-benefit analysis are used to measure the performance and establish norms. For example, data on the number of books acquired, classified and catalogued, actual man hours for doing the entire processing work, etc. are calculated to determine manpower and materials to perform the task. This method measures only quantity and not quality. The difficulty of explaining the complications of library operational management to library and information service. Then next is planning, programming, budgeting system, PPBS. This budgeting method combines the best of both program budgeting and performance budgeting. PPBS is, however, one of the most complex methods of budgeting, incorporating many elements of long-range planning techniques. The preparation of PPBS budget will require first the establishment of organizational goals. the selection of specific objectives from a variety of possible objectives which are of relevant to the goals of the organization. Next is the collection of data in order to determine appropriate objectives. Then the development in detail of the ways in which the objectives are to be achieved, which should include a review of current procedures as well as an evaluation of new ideas. Then last is evaluating the result so that corrective actions can be taken. PPBS enables a librarian to enumerate programs as well as assign costs to these. It allows authorities to look at programs proper perspective. As a result, they will be able to notice the effects of cutting or adding money to the budget. An example of PPBS is given in table 2. For example, use of lending services in a special library. In this case, input cost will be 3,30,000. Kind of service will be given will be lending service. The objective of the program will be lending books for home to the users. Output total will be 15,000 items. Cost per unit output will be calculated as rupees 22. Similarly, second example for reference service is also given in this table. Then last is our zero-based budgeting. The idea behind ZBB technique is to divide enterprise programs into packages composed of goals, activities and needed resources, and then to calculate costs of each package from the ground up. Zero-based budgeting is similar to PPBS but does not take into account what happened in the past but emphasis on the current activities. Every program and activity of the library, and for them the financial requirements are worked out without reference to the past. ZBB has a number of benefits over traditional budgeting. First is effective allocation of resources. Second is improvement in productivity and cost effectiveness. Third is effective means to control the cost. Next is elimination of unnecessary activities. Better focus on organization's objectives. However, if zero-based budgeting is not followed properly, it involved extra paperwork, difficulty in identifying decision packages, tendency to establish minimum level of efforts, etc. Then I have given the budgetary control cycle, which emphasizes on 3 phases. First, planning, management and control. Then their counterparts, external and internal. Now I will explain you accounting. Accounting is the term that describes the processes involved in the measurement and recording of financial information and its subsequent communication and interpretation as background to decision making within the organization at all levels. 3 types of accounting are recognized by the accounting professions. Financial accounting. The accounts record the transactions of the organization with third parties such as suppliers, customers and of course of their staff. Second is cost accounting. Cost accounting is the process of establishing the cost in money terms of the activity or process being reviewed. Third is management accounting. Management accounting is a process combining financial and cost accounting that provides the complete picture of financial state of the organization and should allow the organization's management to manage its finances prudently. We will discuss cost effectiveness. Effectiveness is the degree to which the library achieving its aims and objectives, including ensuring that its policy aims are being met. Effectiveness is concerned with outcome or impacts, the effects of the service on user. One way of measuring effectiveness is to gauge satisfaction level of users directly by checking the availability of books and periodicals, or indirectly by asking users for their views. Cost effectiveness is an indicator which shows costs to the library of achieving its aims and objectives. Examples of such measures would include cost per document supplied, cost per information unit supplied, cost per study hours. The cost effectiveness of a service may be improved by keeping costs at a constant level while increasing effectiveness. Cost effectiveness is generally confused with cost efficiency. The basic difference between the two is that cost effectiveness is output oriented and cost efficiency is input oriented. In cost effective study, the goal is to maximize output at a given level of cost. The aim of cost efficiency is to minimize cost at a given level of output. The cost effectiveness approach has various advantages. First, it requires the cost and effectiveness data which are easily available in library and information centers. Second, it takes into account the alternative solutions for a particular goal, making the study more exhaustive. However, the major disadvantage is that it takes into account only those alternate solutions which have similar goals or objectives. It cannot compare alternatives with different goals or objectives. Then cost-benefit analysis. Cost-benefit analysis is an important tool used by welfare economics. It refers to the evaluation of alternatives in relation to their cost and benefits measured in monetary terms. It tries to evaluate social costs and benefits of a particular project and helps in deciding whether to go ahead with a project or not. Cost-benefit analysis tries to measure the value of cost and benefit of each alternative. The emphasis is more on social benefit than on economic benefit. The advantages of cost-benefit analysis are: first is for ascertaining if any particular alternative has benefits exceeding its costs. Second is identifying the set of alternatives among different objectives which have the lowest cost-benefit ratio. And the only disadvantage of this system is that it is difficult to measure the costs and benefits in peculiar terms. One may face many difficulties in collecting the data, and the result may not always be accurate. Thanks.